Hi guys, today we are going to be doing lesson 7-7, order numbers within 1000. Okay, so we are going to be essentially kind of comparing numbers like we did the last time, except for there's going to be more than two, so we're going to have to put them in order from least to greatest, and least means, remember, littlest to greatest. Greatest is the biggest, or from greatest to least. So greatest to least would be the biggest to the smallest. So I'm sure they'll tell us what to do. This month, Jada read 178 pages, Aaron read 126 pages, and Molly read 172 pages. What is the order of the numbers from least to greatest? I can just hear Tinley's voice right now saying, Aaron's my mom's name. So I can hear it all the way from my house. Compare the hundreds. So we're going to do exactly what we did the last lesson, where you compare the hundreds first. You look at the hundreds place first. Then you compare the tens, and then you compare the ones. So in this case, they all have one in the hundreds place. The next thing we look at is the tens place. Now, the tens place, there's a 7, a 2, and a 7. Now, we know that the 2 is the smallest, so this number, 126, is going to be our smallest number. So we would write 126 if we were writing from littlest to biggest. We would write 126 first, so least to greatest. So then we have 2 sevens. So then we need to look at the ones place. So they highlighted those numbers in red. We have an 8 and we have a 2. So 2 is smaller. So we want to put 172 as the middle number, and then comma, and then the greatest number would be the 178. So break it down, guys. Break it down and really look at each number and look at the places first. So look at the hundreds place, then look at the tens place, and then look at the ones place. Now, if a number doesn't have a hundreds, pretend it's a 0. That always helps me. Okay, let's go ahead. Write the numbers in order from least to greatest. Think least is littlest to greatest is biggest. So make sure you read those directions. Least to greatest, littlest to biggest. So they started out with the first one for us, 126. So let's look at those hundreds places. So we have a 3, we have a 1, we have a 7, and we have a 2. Ooh, we have all different numbers. So let me adjust and let me make this smaller. There we go. So let's see what would come next. So we had a 1. We already did that one. So we did 126. Now what would be next? 259 would come next. Let me write that out because the 2 is the next smallest. Cross that one out. Oh, it's supposed to be a cross out. Okay. Oh, yay. It's small again, just like the last one. And next would be let's look next. So we had a 2. Now we have a 3 and a 7. 3 is the next smallest. So 375. And then let's go ahead and look at that last number. And we'll double check. 704. That is the biggest number. 704. I'll move it over. And then you guys can go ahead and write those down. Let's look at number 2. I'll move my video. Number 2, so we want to look once again in the hundreds place first. So we have a 5, we have a 4, we have a 5, and we have another 4. So they listed the first one for us. So we want to look at those 4s. It's kind of like ABC order, except for it's with numbers. So we want to look at the 4s first. So 472 is the smallest. Then the next would be 498. I'm just going to write it out. I think it's faster if I do it like this. 490. Oh, goodness. That is a rough. There we go. 498. Now we have 509 and 530. So we're going littlest to biggest. So the next littlest would be 509 because we have a 3 and a 0. So 509. And then the last one, cross that out. And then our last one would be 530. So think littlest to biggest. What's the smallest number? So we have a 9, we have a 9, we have a 9, and we have a 9. Oh goodness, so many 9s. So we can't use the hundreds place to help us. So now we need to move on to the tens place. So the tens place, we have a 1, we have a 0, we have a 2, and we have another 0. So smallest, think we're smallest to biggest. So smallest would be zeros. We 907 and 908. Smallest number. What is smaller, 907 or 908? Definitely 907 would be smaller. So that would be the smallest. 908 would come next. 908 would come next. Oop, I kind of got a little big there. Now we have 914 and then 927. Well, we have a 1 and a 2, though 914 is smaller. Ah, goodness. And then last we would have 900. My goodness, these are so hard for me to draw, guys. 900, I'll write the biggest one down here, 927. Okay, so 907, then 908, and then 914, and then 927. So the last one, 671, 6, 1, 6, 1. Ooh, tricky again. So we have 1. So we know the 100 is smaller. So is it 176 or 167? We have a 7, we have a 6. So we want the smallest number. So always think smallest first if we're least to greatest. So let's go ahead. I'm going to try these text boxes out again. Okay. So smallest would be 167. And we are going to copy and paste. Oops. Just copied a YouTube thing. Did not want to do that. 167. Do another text box. Ooh, perfect. We got a couple of them. And do one more. Okay, so we had 167 was our smallest, then 176. And then we have 671 and 617. Well, the 7 and a 1. So this 1 would come first because it's smaller. And then we have 671. Just like that. Okay. So hopefully that front page you were okay with. Oh goodness, I think we have less numbers for me to write this time, which is good. Okay, it says use the numbers in the box. So this box for exercises 5 and 6. Which is the greatest number? Greatest means biggest. So 248, 401, 234, 305. Well, out of all those numbers, the biggest one would be 401 because there's a 4 in the hundreds place. So that one, I will write 401. Do you use the hundreds, tens, or ones to decide what number is the greatest? And we always use whatever number is the biggest in this case, or that worth the most. In this case, they're 3-digit numbers, so hundreds. Write a number to complete the list of numbers. Ooh, so we can put any number that's between 237 and 549 from least to greatest. So 237 and 549. Let's do a number. I'm going to think of a number that is in between. And I think I'm going to just do an even 300 because it's bigger than 237 and smaller than 549. We'll do another one. 416, 458, and 472. So littlest to biggest, least to greatest, bigger than 458 and smaller than 472. How about 461? Because the 4 is the same. So it's got to be in the 400s, but it's got to be bigger than 458 and smaller than 472. So we're going to go 461. If you want to do a different number, you don't do the same one as me. Oh no, don't tell me my video is frozen. I guess we'll find out. On which day was the greatest number of cans collected for the recycling drive? Which one is the biggest? 505 on Monday, 450 on Tuesday, 405 on Wednesday, and 550 on Thursday. Well, the biggest number would be Thursday, 550. So I'm going to write in my text box Thursday. Oops, let me go back to that last page. Connor says the number 610, 700 or 712, 720, and 629 are in order from least to greatest. Is he correct? Let's just talk about this. You don't have to write it down. Well, let's see. Ooh, I see a problem. I see the number 629 at the end, and that's definitely not the biggest number. I think he looked at the ones place for this one, instead of looking at the hundreds place. So hopefully that helps you guys with ordering numbers.